Welcome back to the 8:30 show. This is Dave and Datey.
Hi.
And I just wanted to talk to you about, did you see the information from that's been going around the news about the whistleblower?
Yes.
His name is David Gersh. I
Yes.
think I'm pronouncing that
Or
correctly.
Gresh.
It's pretty crazy what he's talking about. He's saying like um, he was part of the UAP program, which is also the UFO program that they keep changing the names and shit.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Correct.
Yes.
They keep changing the names every time a name gets leaked. They change it to try to cover up their whole secret programs, but then they end up coming out anyway. So this guy's saying like he's part of the program. He wasn't folded into everything, which we all know the government is very compartmentalized, and that um, he's saying that yeah, we have recovered all these different type of exotic spacecraft and these different materials that are not human man-made.
Yeah.
They're let's just call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. He's calling it off-world. And these off-world objects that they've recovered or spacecraft that they've recovered,
Yeah.
we do have, and no, they're not actually telling us the truth when it comes to these type of things. And
That we pay with our tax dollars.
yeah,
Me on the tax dollar shit. Go
we
ahead.
have our regular
Sorry.
taxes, and then we have a hammer for $1 million, a wrench for $2 billion, a toilet for $130 billion. But he's talking about these things, and it's not really getting, from my perspective, it's not really getting pushed like it should be. You have these kind of alternative um, news media sites kind of covering it. It looks to be legit as far as I can tell. I mean, this guy's got like a 14-year military career and is talking about this thing and these things that he's, I guess, either witnessed or people have told him, um, that are also ranking officials in our government. And I want to know, is this what he's saying? Is it real? I mean, we've had the fighter pilots that's come out and they've discussed how the things that they've seen and have captured. The Pentagon released those videos about a year, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
with all the different unidentified objects in them, and people have analyzed those videos and kind of said like, yeah, this isn't altered. Yeah, it looks like this because of the type of camera system that's on the jet. It's not made for high resolution.
Yeah.
It's made for a specific type of thing.
Yeah.
And to me that makes sense, you know what I mean? Why it looks like that, the grainy videos. but but yeah, I feel like more and more credible people in the government are coming out and are speaking on these things. And I don't understand why our government is so hell bent on not saying, yeah, we got it. We got this.
I feel because they have to admit
Their
that
lies.
they're liars,
Their
and
lies.
and yeah, that's why they don't want to admit that they've been lying to the human race. You know what I mean? They don't want to. They don't want to for us to. I feel like protest the government, and we're already there, sort of. I'm waiting for the revolution to be televised because of things like this. They talk about politics. Politics have just been taking over big time. It's so bad. Politics now are so bad, which we shouldn't be in this time. We should be evolved into better people. But these politicians, they have their thoughts and they have their right to think the way they think, just like we have our right to think what we think. But I feel that people would be angry to know that this has been going on forever.
Yeah.
And for some reason, some genius talked to a group of other people and said, let's hide it from the population. They don't need to know that sort of thing.
Well, you know why they what I've understood,
Oh, wait, and they agreed to it.
of course. Well, from what I understand from my just novice research over the years into this kind of topic and field of, I guess, investigation, is that the reason they kind of hid these things was because they said society wasn't ready, because it would bring down society. It'll be anarchy and chaos. It'll be looting in the street, pandemonium, the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Yeah, I heard that growing up. That people couldn't handle it. But how do you know?
I mean,
How do you know? I mean, how do you know? Tell me, show me something where it says that that would happen.
I
And then I'll believe it, maybe, possibly, but I don't. I probably wouldn't believe it anyway because they're full of shit. And yeah, they're full of shit. And I understand that they have to compartmentalize all this stuff and they can't tell us everything. And that's how they got all this new technology. Like, we took a leap.
Velcro,
We took a fucking leap.
microwaves,
We took a leap. And
fiber optics,
so, yeah.
night vision. Well, here's the thing. So, because of what he's saying, and he's saying this has been going on since like the 40s, which makes me believe, which I always had suspect on anyway, is the Roswell incident, where they are like, oh, yeah, it's a UFO, but wait, a couple of hours later, no, it's a weather balloon. Oh, smoke and mirrors, magic. It was all an illusion. They didn't know what they were looking at. They couldn't identify a weather balloon. Come on. I know people are dumb, but people aren't that dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Excuse
it
me.
wasn't like, they were
Sorry
saying
about
like,
that.
oh, the material. Yeah, now we see the material. They never showed the material. They got one photo because they had to use that to cover up their lies. And the one photo of the guy holding the piece of material, but in the initial report, he's like, yeah, this material, you can crumble it and then it just reopens back up to it's like memory material. And over the years, I've learned, or not learned, but heard of all these different technologies that humankind has gotten from this stuff, like fiber optics, like night vision. Things had to be moved from one location to another location, and then this our whole space program by NASA, Werner von Braun was brought over from Nazi Germany with other Nazi Germans scientists. And in this whole situation, which was called Operation Paperclip, which is very public, people can go and look it up and see for yourself. Werner von Braun said that we didn't just create this technology out of our own minds. We had help from the Space Brothers. And it makes you think like, okay, if this guy, he's supposed to be, regardless of him being a Nazi German, he's a scientist. He comes over here, he does his scientry, and he helps create our space program. And when it's asked about how how they came about all some of this stuff, he says the Space Brothers. I mean, come on, this sounds like a rock band. It ain't a rock
Surprise.
band.
Surprised we don't have one called the Space Brothers.
So it's very interesting on that now in 2020 plus, because those other videos came out, before, we're seeing all this stuff, that, and not from civilians. We're getting it from people that we would consider to be very credible individuals.
Are they, though? Are they? So hear me out.
Hmm.
In regards to this whistleblower,
Well, the whistleblower, I'm not too sure on, but I'm
But
talking about the
hear me out.
pilots.
I'm talking about the whistleblower
Hmm.
and maybe even the pilots. So again, government conspiracy. What if they're like, you need to come out and do this for us, the country? Because shit's about to go down. And I keep saying that shit's about to go down. Like things are happening that not everyone is aware of. And they try to hide it by the whole smoke and mirrors thing. And what if this is that? Like, oh yeah, because we're about to see something and they know it's coming. So they're like, let's just throw this out there so that way they're not surprised. This is how they ready us for what's coming. Because what happened in Nevada, in
Yeah.
Las Vegas,
Yeah.
a UFO crashed in someone's backyard and beings got out. They got out.
Walked
And I
around.
think we were talking about this in the previous podcast where we're like, I'm waiting for this to happen type of thing. And that's what happened. This happened on May 1st in Las Vegas, Nevada. They show a video. If you look it up, it'll come up. And news stations have broadcasted this and they've discussed it. And there was a body cam footage from one of the police officers out there, and he saw it crash land somewhere in Nevada,
Yeah.
in Las Vegas.
Well, I
And
don't
then,
think he knew it crashed. I think he just thought it was a shooting star. And that's right after that, all these other calls started coming. And he got dispatched to that family's home.
well, no, I think he got dispatched later, but his friend, his
Buddy.
cop buddy,
Yeah.
went, and he was like flipping out because his friend, the one that saw it, was like, hey, I just saw this, blah blah blah, and now he's being called out to the house. But regardless of that, it crash landed in their backyard. And I want to say it didn't like crash, it landed, but it landed hard. And
Somebody was drunk behind a spaceship wheel.
according to the guy, that one of the people that witnessed it, he's a young man. He looks like he's maybe 21, 22.
Yeah.
But they show the video. His family goes out there, dad, probably brother, mom holding the camera. And I mean, let me just tell you, people on TikTok have been like investigating this video. They have been ripping it apart, just breaking it down because they want to see. And that just shows you how curious we are. We want to see them. We want to know that it's real. And there's quite a few videos on TikTok. Once, the algorithm happens, it's over.
Yeah. You get
And
flooded with it.
they're circling the videos. And then this one guy, he happened to catch the being on the side of like behind the gate, but over to the side, and you could see like an eye and the fingers through the gate. And they had no idea. They only saw the 8-foot tall being with the big eyes.
Yeah.
So but they're going to try to cover that up as well. So I feel like, the military's like, let's throw this shit out here to tell everybody, like,
Smoke and mirrors.
it's true. Because there are several. Okay, so I read an article by News Nation talking about the whistleblower and the interview and all of that. And they're talking about the first time an official rep from U.S. government said, we're not alone. There are several military, U.S. military people. I do the quotes because I don't know them. And I don't know if they're really military or not. And they're just saying this to shut us up or to tell us whatever they want us to think. But there's Lou Elizondo. He was former military, and he's over here with Tom DeLonge, just like exploring and
Tom DeLonge. DeLonge secret documents.
Looking for all these things and trying to prove that there are, because he's seen some things. So how is that not valid?
Yeah.
He's a valid person from the military. Like, he wears his hat.
He's got the haircut.
He's got the haircut. He walks military like. But you get what I'm
Left
saying?
foot, right foot.
Yeah. So this happened in Nevada, and now they're going to try to cover it up. And I saw a video where someone said that like the house looked like it was quarantined. They put one of those termite tents over the house, maybe
Yeah.
trying to get rid of the radiation that was brought on, because the kid said that when he walked out there and he saw the being, it looked blurred. Like there was some kind of camouflage type of thing, so they couldn't see perfect. And it wasn't that he can't see, it was that he felt it was coming from them.
Well, when they talked about that, I got to flip this back to Bob Lazar. When
Yeah.
Bob said all these many years ago, back in the 80s, that yes, we have this, and yes, this is this,
OG
and
whistleblower.
yeah, the OG, the original gangster whistleblower, said
Right.
all this stuff. Nobody really wanted to believe him. He had facts upon facts upon facts. They tried to scrub his record, all this stuff. But
They tried to destroy this man's life. If you don't know, hold on. If you don't know about Bob Lazar, look him up.
yeah,
They have tried so hard. The government has tried so hard to
discredit
discredit
everything.
everything in his life, that he didn't go to the college that he went to, that he didn't graduate, that he doesn't have the degrees that he has.
He wasn't a rocketeer.
They watch him
Yeah.
still because they claim that he stole an element from one of the spacecrafts that he was working on.
Well, here's the thing that I was getting at. I got to cut you
Sorry,
off.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Here's the thing I
cut
got
you off.
to. Here's the thing I was getting at. So what Bob Lazar said in one of his recent interviews, I believe it's a Joe Rogan interview.
Yeah.
You guys can look that up for yourself, and it's a very interesting interview. And if you look up just Bob Lazar, period, you'll see all these stories that he's given, these interviews that he's given, and the interviews are always the same, even in his most current interviews. But what I was leading to is where the kid said that when everything was fuzzy when he's focusing on the spacecraft, but everything around it is clear as day. He can see perfectly fine. Bob said that they use gravitational, I guess, technology to levitate their crafts, and that's their propulsion system is based off of anti-gravity, right? And Bob says in so many words that yet it kind of looks fuzzy, and like the way that the crafts move from our perspective when we're looking at it, they look like they dart around, but really it's because they're bending gravity and light, and it gives this effect to the observer. But really they're just moving in a linear pattern, doing whatever they're doing, turning, but it's not sharp, abrupt movements. It's just how we perceive it because of the technology that is being used.
Yes.
So I think what happened there was the anti-gravity machine that they use was still on when it landed. And that's why he could not see really a clear image of the ship with his own eyeballs. But once they walked out the ship and was like, hey, how's it going? He could see them.
No, I get that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's because they're outside of that field of gravitation.
No, I understand that. I'm just telling you what he said.
No, I know, but this is what I'm
Your
thinking
explanation
of. Yeah.
to it. Got
What
it.
I think is happening is that if this is a valid thing, which I believe it is, because even he says in his video, there was a loud crash and this and that when it landed, and then he shows a ring camera from around his neighborhood.
Yeah.
And the neighborhood lights up like there, artificial light happening because it's dead of night.
Yeah.
And you hear this thunderous crash, like something happened. It does not sound like an automobile accident. It does not sound like a plane went down. It sounds like either a rock fell from space and crashed, or what he's saying is 100% true, that they landed in his backyard looking for the casino.
I think they were lost. They got lost because when they got out, they all got out, and they were just like, "What the hell? Where are we?
Leroy, you told me we were going to be in the desert. This is somebody's backyard.
Right?
Come on, man. They see us. Let's go. They got cameras and everything.
I thought you knew how to navigate. You lied on your resume.
Wait till we get to Percy I-5. I'm going to let the high commander know.
Oh my god, it's
But
crazy though. That to me, that's he said that when he walked. The young man said that when they walked back there, that he froze to the spot, and it wasn't because he froze. It was because they froze him to the
yeah.
spot, like he couldn't move.
But see, that
And,
part.
hold on.
Uh-huh.
And my thought to that is the fact that they can do things with their minds.
Yeah.
And we've been hearing things like this for a whole Randy Quaid moment. Let me correct it. It wasn't Dennis Quaid, it was Randy Quaid. But it's a whole Randy Quaid moment where people are seeing this and they're like, yes, they do that. They freeze you, or they manipulate your mind in some way, or you can hear them talking to you, but in your mind. Like, what is it? Telepathy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was gonna say telekinesis, but that's not it.
Kind of ESP, kind
Yeah.
of wrap all that together.
So-
But here's the other thing. Like, for one, the whole him freezing in space, in time, or just being frozen. I don't know if that was really that, or if that was like he's paralyzed from what he's seeing.
And we'll never know.
Absolutely. Even though he knows that he's seeing something, some phenomenon,
Yeah, I understand.
but it may have frightened him to the point where he was just frozen in that moment,
Yeah.
and maybe actually not being, being mind beamed to freeze, but just frozen from fear. Yeah.
No, I absolutely understand that, but I have to take it back to all the videos and stories that I've read, because I've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of books on this, on missing time and UFOs and abductions, and we've watched movies and we've watched TV, we've watched a lot of documentaries on this, and the consensus is that this is what they do.
I mean, yeah, they did it in Independence Day. They did it in that movie with
Mind control. I don't want to say mind control. I want to say being able to, well, yeah, kind of mind control,
telekinesis,
manipulate you,
ESP,
without actually moving hands, or they do it with their mind. Like, if that's evolution, wow.
Well, look at that movie with Mila Jovovich, where it's supposed to be kind of a it's like a hybrid documentary movie, but the movie is parallel to the documentary. I forgot what it's called. Is it Close Encounters or something like that? No, The Fourth Kind. That's what it's called. I'm sorry, The Fourth Kind. And in this movie, she's playing the mom, and they cut in actual footage of what's happening. They like when the sheriff actually sees, like, confirms her story, she's vindicated. They cut to the sheriff's real car dash cam, and he's like, what the fuck is that in the air above their house? And this all takes place in Alaska, and Alaska is one of those places where a lot of people go missing and never are heard from again.
Yeah. And I want to go to Alaska just because I hate the heat and I love the cold, but that's frightening though.
Yeah, that tingles my Negro senses a little bit. It pings it. It's a little ping.
Everything pings your Negro senses.
Exactly, because you know why? Every horror movie, the Negro has to die first. Why? Why? Why, Blanche? Why?
Not no more.
No, yeah, but growing up, that's what you would
that
see.
was-
I mean, come on. What was it? One of the Jason Voorhees movies. The black dude is a boxer. He's beating up Jason, and he just punches his head off. Come on, it's the black guy. The only black guy that didn't die in one of those type of movies was in Ghostbusters. Winston. Winston survived. Always.
All right, so back to what we were discussing.
Sorry, I went on a tangent there. But but yeah, back to the to everything. Like this whistleblower coming out is very intriguing. I'm very fascinated about two things. Is he for real as far as his credentials and everything that he's discussing? And is what he's saying actually true? You know,
I feel like what he is saying is true. I just feel like they're saying it because so much shit is coming out now. There are
yeah,
so many videos. It's just a lot of evidence, and maybe that's why they're trying to ban TikTok, because TikTok allows these videos to be shown. If you go on to TikTok and look at what they show, and of course the algorithm, yada yada, but go to Instagram and put in a certain thing, and
the
the
differences.
differences in what you're seeing, because it's totally different. It's completely different. You're not seeing the real deal. Instagram is
Filtered.
filtering
Yeah.
what we're seeing versus TikTok. That's not. TikTok is allowing everyone to see whatever's going on out there without saying, okay, this is violating our guidelines, blah, blah, blah. So we're getting to see, and maybe that's why they want to ban TikTok, because they don't want you to see that the UFOs are landing in your backyard. Literally.
Well, I forgot who said it. I think it was Malcolm X, but it's like the greatest enemy of mankind or something like that to that effect is the media. And if the media can be bought, then the media is not really media. It's propaganda at that point
Yeah.
because this isn't really what's going on. This isn't really what's happening. And
Well,
it could be in anything. It could be from UFOs to
no,
social
absolutely.
activities. You
And
know what I
that's
mean?
that's where I'm going to go back to one of the podcasts where we talked about being programmed and what we saw versus what we're seeing now. What we saw growing up, they chose the stories to show us because there was no social media back there, as I said before.
Hmm.
They chose the stories they were going to show. We were not aware of everything that was going on in the world. We were only aware of what they were willing to tell us. And at that point, yeah, they're programming us because they have all the power in their hands.
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore. So now they're panicking. Honestly, I feel like they're panicking, and TikTok is a threat to that, to media completely, because they're allowing us to see what other, now even social media, Instagram,
Hmm.
Facebook, they're not showing you everything. They're only showing you enough to make you outraged about what's going on in your own backyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it. I could be completely wrong, and if you want to tell me, that's fine. I won't be offended. Everybody has a right to feel how they want to feel, and
They have their own
you have
opinions.
your own opinion, but this is my opinion, and this is what I think.
Yeah.
I think that they are having a hard time manipulating us with the media, with regular newscast, broadcast, whatever.
And I think that a lot of that has to do with that old style media is is going out.
Yeah.
Like terrestrial radio, that's kind of it's yeah, it's still around, but it's kind of on its way out. Regular
I don't
media,
even listen to the radio. I'm gonna be honest with you.
yeah.
The only time I listen to the radio is when I forget to charge my phone, and I
You
have
have
to
no
charge
choice.
it. I have to charge it on the way to work, and so I have no choice to listen to the radio. And I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I never was, having to hear the commercials, and I get that's how they get paid, but
Hmm.
I hated that. So now, not having to do that or listen to it, it's great for me.
Yeah.
Sorry to the people who still work there and
Well,
whatever, but hold on.
yeah.
That's the only time that I will listen to the radio, or if I'm somewhere where I don't have my earbuds, because I always have them, and I'm sitting there waiting and all they have is the radio playing. That's the only time. Other than that, I don't cut it on. I don't listen to satellite radio like Sirius XM or whatever it's called. I don't listen to that. I listen to my paid streaming,
Yeah,
whatever.
your catalog of music.
Yeah, Amazon Music, unlimited, and I get to listen to whatever I want, and I like the songs, and it creates a playlist for me, and I'm jamming. So that's about it. I don't listen to, and that's how it's hard for me to get new music.
You're in
To
your own
listen.
little music bubble.
Well, yeah, I am. I'm listening to my greatest hits.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, my favorites, but it's hard for new music to get in, but sometimes something gets in, and Drake
Well,
was one of those that got in.
well, it's just like any other thing, any other piece of content media wise that you listen to, whether it's video, audiobooks,
Yeah, yeah,
podcasts,
for sure.
anything. But
But that's what I was saying. Like, I don't listen to the radio anymore, and I don't even watch TV anymore.
yeah,
Like, we watch TV, but we don't watch regular TV. When we were growing up, we had channels 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. And
and not
that's
everybody
it.
had that.
And not everybody had that, apparently.
Yeah.
We had that. And every now and then we'd get lucky and get like channel 20 and channel 34, Univision, channel 52. I forgot what it was called.
Telemundo.
Telemundo. Yeah. But you got your Spanish channels, and and
Yeah.
your Asian channels, and yeah. So, but I don't even watch TV anymore, and the only time I know what's going on in the world is because social media has told me about it, and then I go into a deep dive into it because I want to know. I want to know what's going on, what's happening, and I look everything up after that. I don't need to watch
You
TV.
can cross reference what you saw
Yeah.
and but anyway, like I
Yeah,
was saying,
sorry.
all those news media outlets, they're kind of on the way out. The traditional style, they're on their way out. People aren't consuming that kind of content that way anymore.
No, they're not.
They're
It's
getting it from
older
social.
people that watch
Yeah,
it.
they're getting it. Well, that's the thing. When it's sad to say this, but when the older people no longer are here, it's gonna be the people that are looking at content the way they're doing it currently.
Well, that's why there are still stores,
Yeah.
honestly, because of the older people.
Well,
Older people have kept them in business because they don't know how to use technology, and they don't know how to shop online. And some people don't have grandkids. We don't have children. So one day we're going to be too old to understand what the fuck is going on.
Please.
Anyway, so
Hold on,
come on.
please. Didn't you see the article I sent you about Mr. Elon Musk and his Neuralink? It's been approved by the
You
FDA.
go ahead and stick whatever the fuck you want in your brain. I'm good. When it's my time, I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna be Johnny mnemonic
Yeah,
around
go
this
ahead
piece.
and do whatever you want with your body. I'm going to do what I want with mine, and I'm going to let the baby Jesus take me to see my mother in heaven, because that's where I'm trying to go.
I'm going
I don't
into
give
the
a fuck
Matrix.
about none of that in
But anyway.
regards to the FDA approving that shit. Why doesn't he fucking do it? Now, I like the fact that this man has done so much. I really do. And I like him. But put the chip in your fucking brain. Let's see what happens. You get what I'm saying? Like, I get they tested on animals or whatever, and it got leaked that someone that worked for the company that he joined up with that was doing this, that there's like dead animals everywhere. I don't know if that's true, allegedly, but whatever. Put the chip in your brain, sir, and then maybe people will follow. But I just can't imagine. But I understand it's to better people who can't walk, people who have medical issues, like really
The
bad.
blind.
Yeah. So I understand that.
Alzheimer's.
I totally get
Yeah.
that, and that's great. But I just feel like oh man, we're
It's
headed
too early.
no, it's not even too early. We're headed in such a really dangerous path with AI and with putting chips and like putting the shit in your eye. They were talking about that, like the whole like being able to see like the internet,
The AR vision.
whatever.
I think that's with a contact lens, right?
I don't know. I don't
because
know,
that's a
but
contact lens.
I don't want it to be like, oh, well, now I'm in an eye. You know, I'm in here permanently, bitch.
Gotcha.
Gotcha, bitch. I don't want to be that. So when it's my time to go, peace.
I think the eye thing. Just to go back, I think the eye thing is like a contact lens,
Yeah.
kind of like how they showed in that new Batman with Robert
Oh, I
Pattinson.
know what you're talking about.
Apple just came out with their new VR system, so I don't know. It could be as much as now going to be glasses.
What the fuck are you all gonna do? Let me just say this. What are you all gonna do when all of this shit shuts down? And we don't have technology because we need power to power everything. What the fuck are you gonna do? Can you survive? Are you able to survive out in the wild? I know I can. I know I can. But can you? Can you feed yourself? Can you clothe yourself? Can you do what's needed to survive without all of these things? People depend on this shit too much. And I feel like I said we're heading down a really bad path.
So
But just because these are my thoughts doesn't mean that that's going to happen, but I feel like we should always be prepared. I'm not some, you know, what is it? Doomsday, whatever. What do they call them?
doomsday prepper.
Yeah, I'm not, but I kind of am. You know, I carry things with me because of just in case.
Well, in regards to what you just said about what you're gonna do, so I see things happening three ways. First way is we're just gonna accept the AI overlord and bow down to our robot leaders
I
and
hope I'm dead by the time that fucking happens.
and join the Matrix.
I do not win.
Right.
I don't want to be a part of that.
Hold
So
on, hold
go
on.
ahead.
The other one is gonna
Skynet.
be the other one is gonna be well, Skynet is part of the AI Matrix. The other one is gonna be Wally. Remember how the
Oh
people were in
yeah.
Wally? They were all
I
in
said that to
chairs
somebody
and they couldn't do anything.
recently.
Thirdly, which is probably going to happen too, that could have these three possibilities, is going to be. Have you ever seen the movie Surrogate with Bruce Willis?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where we're all going to be robots and
I'm
we're going to
telling
be
you,
at
we're headed in
home
that direction.
in a pod, and our robot is going to be the one doing living life and
Living
experience
life.
and experiencing everything and getting high off of freebasing electricity.
Wow. Yeah, we're heading down a slippery slope, and it's all in the name of evolving and discovering. And I said this before, this planet has had civilizations over and over and over again, because how can it just be us? That's insane. And do
Excuse
you
me.
really think that they didn't evolve into AI or something like that and we're just the first ones? Like, what makes you think that technology hasn't been around for millions of years? Look at these beings that land in someone's backyard. They're using way advanced technology than we have. You know, how long have they been around that they've evolved into gray beings with gigantic eyes who manipulate you with your mind?
Well, this thing I heard. I think you heard it too. This was years ago, but I think we both talked about it. Where they were like, aliens don't really exist. What they are is future us coming back
Yeah, I remember
because
that.
some cataclysm happens to the human race where they can't do certain things, but they develop time travel, so they come back to get the resources that they need and then go back.
So I said to myself, future self, if time travel is possible, come back and see me or leave me something and let me know. It hasn't happened yet, so apparently I'm either dead by the time it comes out for everyone or it's not real. I feel that it is real though. I feel that
Um,
we have time traveled. I just can't imagine that we haven't discovered that yet. I feel like they're hiding it. If you're interested in any kind of sci-fi stuff like that, there's a book called Lightning by Dean Koontz. It's fiction. It's great though, and it talks about time travel and it's a whole story. But it's great. Read it.
well, That's what the bell from Germany is supposed to be. That they fired that thing off, and then when they fired that off, it came to it time traveled to the United States, to whatever forest it was in.
It's
Uh,
interesting you say that about the bell in Germany because the book, it's
mhm.
about Germans and time travel.
And then here's the other thing: the Philadelphia experiment
Yeah.
apparently was an accidental time travel experiment.
Yeah.
That it wasn't for time travel, but time travel was the result of it,
Yeah.
and that led to ill issues happening during the experiment, because that's not what they were trying to do. But who's to say they discontinued that experiment in
That's what I'm
technology?
saying.
You know,
What if they fine
they
tuned it?
perfected, yeah, perfected it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that time travel is a possibility, and it could be a possibility right now. I mean, I think all of these. Here's my thing: all these things that I hear, especially if I see it in sci-fi movies, I think, where did they come up with that? I mean, look at Star
Yeah.
Trek. Star Trek had communicators and all these little fantasy devices that we all wanted to have, and yeah, we have them now. Maybe not like the way it's depicted in the show, but we have it, you know.
Yeah.
So I always look at sci-fi movies. This is why I like watching sci-fi movies of all different genres, is because you see something in a sci-fi movie and you're like, I wonder if that could actually be real. And then all of a sudden it's real. you know Minority Report, with the computer, with he's manipulating it with his hands in the air, and we have that technology. you know Look at all these different movies, all these different things of that we see, that's like, oh, that's super cool, and he did this and he did that. Like, I'm waiting to see Iron Man suit being created. It may not be the Iron Man that we see in the movie, but it could be,
Some kind of like it.
yeah, something
Yeah.
like it. It is technically an Iron Man suit, but just not Tony Stark's version.
No, I
Maybe it's
get that.
Justin Hammer's version. But you know what I mean?
He said that guy's okay. He's fine.
It's like, what is it? Art. What is it saying? Art imitates life, and I feel like now life is starting to imitate art, where we're starting to have these technologies and these
But
capabilities.
where did it come from? Where did we make that leap?
Roswell,
From a spacecraft that crash landed somewhere, Roswell, or
back
maybe no,
engineering,
no, no, or maybe even earlier.
Bob Lazar.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, where did we get that technology? It had to have come from
Mhm.
somewhere. Yes, we're smart as human beings, but we're not that smart, and we haven't gotten to that place. They came and pushed us to that place.
Well, I think, well, if I'm not mistaken, I could be completely talking out of my ass when I say this, but at some point in our current industrial civilization, I'm talking about like maybe the 1900s, the
Yeah,
beginning of the 1900s,
yeah,
I believe we made this huge technology leap that was, if you look at what we were doing before, it's kind of like, how did we go from this to this in such a short time? I mean, if you look, we're only in 2023. you know 1940 isn't really that far away from
no,
us.
it's not.
1920 isn't that far away from us.
Yeah,
I mean, we had electric cars back when when cars were becoming a thing, where they were taking away the horses. We just didn't have the ability of lithium ion batteries. So how do we get from, it always fascinates me how we went from here to where we're at now in such a short span in technology. And I get it. We have the whole equation, Moore's law, where technology jumps every so often because
yeah,
we're
but
able to manufacture better, better, and better. But where did some of these things come from? How do we actually, in, like, I get certain things like the cell phone. I understand that. I understand how that became. I understand like how an air conditioning came about, refrigeration, certain technologies you can trace back in its lineage. Like, okay, I can see how this evolved into what we have now. But some of this stuff is so out of this world that it's like, where did this come from?
So let me
Who
talk. Let
thought
me
this would be
hold on. Let
good?
me go back to UFO of God. So one of the things that Chris Bledsoe discussed, UFO of God is a book by Chris Bledsoe about his experience of being abducted and also having a relationship with entities that he's been abducted, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so one of the things that he said was that music comes from them, that they put music out there in people's minds to create and speak on it, which I thought was crazy. Like, are you serious? And there's been a couple of singers that have discussed
Mm,
how their music comes along and they said that they dream it
mm-hmm.
and then they write the song. And some of it, like, they tell you about that. One of the songs was by Led Zeppelin, I believe is Kashmir.
Mm-hmm.
And the lyrics, and he talks about it in the book. It's in the book. I'm not going to spoil it, but he says that they basically, not all the music, but I want to say some people have been influenced by these beings
I believe that.
to make music.
I believe that. I mean, right now, a popular TikToker slash Instagram slash singer, that chick, I Nico, I think that's her name. It's people have been using it, and in her lyrics, if you listen to her lyrics, she says that she's got this stuff from the Greys. What does she say? I'm from space and yada yada yada. And it's pretty interesting what she's saying. In the lyric side, it's Iniko. You've heard it. It's she's been very popular as music overlays on social media platforms.
All right, so let me read
Hold on,
this.
hold on,
Oh,
hold on.
okay.
And I can understand the whole musical side of it, because if you look at music in its entirety and take away the lyrics, just look at the music. Music is rooted in mathematics,
Mm-hmm.
and they say mathematics is the one and only true form of language,
Yes.
because there's no language barrier to math. Math is always math.
Yeah.
Either you're mathing or you're not mathing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't math well sometimes, but when it comes to currency, like my money, I math perfectly.
So there's a song by David Bowie called Starman, and I'm gonna read the lyrics. It says, "Didn't know what time it was. The lights were low. I leaned back on my radio. Some cat was laying down some rock and roll, lot of soul. Then the loud sound did seem to fade, came back like a slow voice on a wave of phase. That weren't no DJ. That was hazy cosmic trace. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He told us not to blow it because he knows it's all worthwhile." Like, where does that come from?
He was abducted by the Starman.
Right? Or he dreamed about it. They came and they were like beams, you know, beaming into his brain. Let's put this song out there. And it's a great song. I love David Bowie. He's great. And then he taught, what's the other one? He has another one. Oh, Major Tom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rockets.
Yes. Yes. So there's a lot of songs out there, and they're saying come from that. And that's one of the things he discusses in the book, UFO of Gods, that we're influenced by these beings,
Yeah, I can believe
and they
that.
influence what we do. And I feel like I don't feel manipulated by the government. I feel manipulated by beings because they're the ones putting all this shit out here. Look at all these toys back here. Who created this? Who thought of this? Did it just happen?
That was
Or
Mr. Funko.
right? But
Pop
the
Funko.
think about the stories that are made up from what has been seen at some point, and who influenced that. I feel like they influence us human beings because we're the sideshow, like I said before.
And that's why I was saying, like,
Experimented on and all that.
all the sci-fi movies, how did they come up with this? I mean,
Yeah.
how did James Cameron come up with the story of Terminator? Like the original story. Like, I know how he came up, he talked about it, but like, not James Cameron, what's his name? The director, writer?
He wasn't the writer.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, he was the
You are
writer.
mistaken, sir. From what I know, a black woman wrote The Matrix and The Terminator, and she didn't get her comeuppance for that, and they stole it from her. That's what I read. I could be completely off base, but from my understanding, she wrote these books, and they stole them. And they used them, and they made all this money, and she didn't get shit. She had to sue them to get her money back.
I'm not
I'm
going to
just
doubt
telling
that.
you.
I have never heard of this story.
Hold on. I'm
But
about to
anyway,
look it up 'cause-
even if this black woman created these stories, where did these stories come from? Like, I know The Matrix. Like, The Matrix is good versus evil, just like Star Wars. It's kind of parallel to the Bible. Except for Star Wars is more of a samurai good versus evil story.
Am I jumping from timeline to timeline?
You could be.
That'll be.
You know, they've been firing up the Large Haldron. But yeah, I've never heard of that story.
So it says here, is The Matrix and Terminator the same writer? But James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd wrote The Terminator after James saw the idea for the movie in a dream.
Aliens.
The Wachowski brothers wrote The Matrix after being inspired by... Oh, I closed it.
Aren't they transitioned now?
William Gibson's novel Neuromancer, but that's not what I heard. I heard that a woman wrote these books and she tried to sell them, and they took her idea and used it, and that's the story that they were trying to say, like they wrote them. You know, I allegedly. I don't want to sit here and get sued by James Cameron for saying that he's a fucking liar, but allegedly he's a fucking liar, and just kidding.
No, I've never heard that. I've always heard that he wrote that. I didn't know he had a co-writer. I knew the Wachowskis wrote the Matrix. I didn't know it was inspired from something else, but that's whatever.
Hold on.
But yeah, how, where do they get these ideas?
So here's this article. I'm sorry, I'm just
from
not
who?
willing to give it up.
Is this a credible?
It's called Patch.
Is this?
Okay. So you're already on the credible. I don't know. I just looked it up, Dave. So
No, I know. But
I'm gonna
just
do my research on this. We'll get back to this because David's over here telling me,
Is
is
this a
it credible?
news source?
Yeah. And see, the thing is it credible? I mean, what if it is a credible news source, but you don't think it's credible enough because the media has you brainwashed into thinking that they're not. And hold on.
No. I gotta cut you off there.
I'm still talking. So, what if that's the case here? Like, someone is like, we're starting out. We're the 8:30 show. Nobody knows about us, but we're trying to get out there, just like some writer is trying to get out there to tell this story. But because media and James Cameron and all these people with bank, they are paying for this story not to come out. Just saying. Go ahead and say what you got to say. Believe me, I'm coming back with this.
Whatever. What I was trying to say as far as credible is, when I look at something to see if it's credible, I don't care what news media outlet, whether it's alternative.
Did you not just sweat me about
No,
who it was?
hold your horse. Let me answer the question or say my piece. Whether it's a major outlet, small outlet, alternative, whatever, how much of that article is around the web. It doesn't have to be the specific article exactly word for word, but who else is also covering that to give it credence?
I don't know. I'll let you know on the next podcast.
Well, thank you. Do your research.
Oh, I will. I
Because
will,
that's
sir.
all I was saying was like, is it credible? Because look, we had the Inquirer. I don't know if they still exist, but the Inquirer was not a credible like news source. That's why that's where I'm getting at.
Not
Is it
according to Men in Black.
is this is what you found patches? Is it a credible or is it the Inquirer
No,
under
I
a
understand that.
pseudonym?
I get that. I was going to read it, but you make a great point, and that's why I want to make sure that I got the information correct, and I don't have to hear that. Is it credible? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
want you to
yeah,
have to
yeah,
say that to me. So I want to be able to have the information for you. And, so let me just discuss this Men in Black that I just brought up.
yeah.
So the Las Vegas thing that happened, the crash landing in the people's backyard, now they're saying that not only military has shown up to their house to question them, but they've seen men with suits and dark glasses in government cars driving around their house. That's what they
I
said. And
remember.
that was on a newscast. Is that credible? I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like the Men in Black? Is that
Yeah.
what that is? Or is that like just what hub of the government are you?
Well, it's Vegas. You got Area 51 and
Yeah.
right there and both sites. So I wouldn't doubt that the Men in Black just was like, let's it's a 20-minute drive. Let's go ahead and just drive on over there.
Yeah.
We'll catch a plane from Area 51.
All right. All right, so we're at the end of our podcast, and I want to discuss something that has nothing to do with
Well,
UFOs.
hold on before you say that. I just want to say if you are a viewer of our podcast or a listener and you've made it this far, I want to thank you for watching and viewing our podcast.
Yes,
And
thank you to everyone who
please like and
watches.
subscribe and drop a comment if you like.
Yes, that'd be great. Nothing negative, please.
You can do negative. I don't care.
I care.
I just want to see,
No.
what people think.
Well, I
That's
don't
all.
care. Yeah. No, you're right. So I want to discuss something that it's about relationships. And I'm gonna try to make it as brief as possible. In regards to someone in a relationship and their friend. So let's just say, for instance, your friend is going through trauma with some type of drama with their significant other, and they come to you and you're like, oh, well, I kind of noticed that they're this and you should do this, and, kind of against their significant other. Don't go back when y'all argue and tell that person, well, so and so told me. What is wrong with you? Why would you do that? This person is your friend. So now your significant other is like, oh, fuck that motherfucker. Like, don't tell him to come to my house. He can't call you. He can't come to the barbecue. He can't come to the party.
You're cut off.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, you don't see your friend anymore because your significant other can't stand them because they sided with you. Keep that shit to yourself. Like, don't go back and tell them, oh, well, like if me and Dave got into it and he tells me his best friend is like, he told me I should leave you. And I'm over here like outraged. How dare he cannot set foot in our house anymore? That to me it's so stupid, because the thing is, you're going to go back to that person. So don't disparage someone's significant other if this person is going to do that or they've done that in the past. Just stay out of it. Don't give them any advice, especially for those people who are the on and off relationship people that are constantly, breaking up and making up. Don't get involved. Don't put yourself in that situation, because you're going to lose that friend. And then they're going to come back as soon as they break up with that person. They're back. Oh, woe is me. And you're all like, I told you so. Don't say shit. Let them go, because they're going to go back. It's a vicious cycle, and these people do this all the time. Now, I'm not going to say everybody goes back, but a lot of them do. I know a lot of people who do that. They're constantly back and forth. And why the fuck do they tolerate what they tolerate? Because they love it to some degree, I assume. But don't burn your friend. Why are you burning your friend? That's so shitty. That's just a shitty thing to do.
I didn't want to bring your friend around your significant other after you done burned them.
After you burned them, like that's fucked up. And then now
it's awkward.
Yeah, the significant other's like fuck that bitch or fuck him. You're creating a bad situation in your home, in your relationships with your friends and significant other. Just shut up. Don't say shit. Don't tell them that your friend told you to leave them. You just tell them. Argue for yourself. Learn how to argue without throwing people up in the mix. They have nothing to do with it. They're just telling you.
They gave you advice, and now you're using them with their advice as a weapon against your significant other. And now your significant other and this person that you threw in the middle of your argument are now at odds because you made it awkward because you blasted them. They're giving you advice.
Let me just give you this piece that I'm going to throw out there, because some people are like, well, who are you to give advice? I've been married for 23 years and Dave and I have never broken up. We've argued and disagreed, but we've always come to terms with the situation, always. And I feel we have established a great relationship. And yeah, every relationship is different. Absolutely. But I feel that there are certain things you do and you don't do. And that's not one of those things you do. You don't burn your friend because you're going to lose that friend. And that was a great friend to have. But now you're a significant other because you choose to be with this person. You can't bring your friend around no more. So don't burn your friend.
And on that note, I want to say also learn to let go. Pick your battles. Not everything needs to be an argument.
Yeah, for sure.
And on the final note, I want to say thank you and peace out.
Peace.